Months turned into years. Lila's face, once seen smiling on every missing person flyer across town, had slowly faded from memory. The community learned to live with the hollow space her absence created, though the pain never truly left. Her parents, worn and frail, still placed a candle by the window each night. Grace, meanwhile, built a new life. She began visiting the small town more frequently, her eyes always finding Daniel, Lila's old boyfriend. At first, Daniel resisted her presence. His heart carried too much grief, too much loyalty to Lila's memory. But Grace was patient. Gentle words, shared sorrows, promises of healing. Slowly, she positioned herself as both comforter and savior. 2 years after Lila's disappearance, Grace and Daniel were married in a quiet ceremony. The town blessed it, whispering that life must go on. Grace wore white, Daniel wore regret. But shadows have a way of seeping into light. One night, during a soft autumn evening in Washington, D.C., Grace leaned against Daniel on their balcony, the city lights shimmering below. They were laughing, half drunk on wine and nostalgia, when she murmured, almost carelessly, she never really wanted to leave that night, but she had no choice. Daniel froze. What did you say? Grace's smile faltered. She tried to laugh it off. Just memories, I meant nothing, but Daniel's chest tightened. Those words struck like a thunderclap. How could Grace know what Lila wanted or didn't want the night she vanished? That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. For the first time, he began to suspect. He quietly reached out to an old investigator, Detective Harris, who had worked on Lila's case. Harris, though retired, still kept the files. Together, they combed through details long buried. There were oddities. A security camera in town had briefly captured a black sedan near the bus station the night Lila disappeared, Grace's uncle's government vehicle. A witness, an elderly neighbor, had reported seeing Lila walking toward the edge of town, not alone, but with a woman whose description loosely fit Grace. It had been dismissed at the time. And now, Daniel's account of Grace's careless words breathed life back into those shadows. The investigation rekindled. A $50,000 reward was announced for any information leading to the truth of Lila's disappearance. But Grace was clever. When detectives questioned her, she wept convincingly, claimed she was being targeted out of jealousy. In public, she painted herself as a victim, forced to relive the trauma of her best friend's loss while being slandered by her own husband. Daniel grew tormented. He wanted to believe he hadn't married a monster. Yet doubt gnawed at him. At family dinners, the tension was unbearable. Daniel's mother still spoke of Lila, as though she might walk through the door any moment. His father refused to make eye contact with Grace. They treated her like an intruder who had claimed a seat that never belonged to her. The Carter family, Lila's parents, were colder still. They had once adored Grace like a daughter, yet now they barely acknowledged her. Lila's mother, her voice trembling with age, once whispered to Daniel, "Do you see it too? In her eyes? The way she flinches when we say Lila's name." Daniel wanted to dismiss it as grief-driven suspicion, but he couldn't. Not after Grace's slips of the tongue. Not after the way she'd snapped in rage when he compared her gentleness to Lila's. The more Daniel pressed her, the more volatile their marriage became. One night, he demanded answers. "Tell me what you meant about that night. Tell me why you said she didn't want to leave." Grace's face twisted, torn between fury and fear. She screamed back, "Because I knew her better than you ever did. You think she was perfect, but she wasn't. She wanted more than this place, more than you, more than her little life here. I was the one she told her secrets to, not you." Her voice cracked, and for a moment, Daniel saw genuine pain. Or was it guilt masquerading as grief? He couldn't tell anymore. Then, during another heated argument, Grace shouted words that haunted him. "Why couldn't you love me the way you loved her? Why did it always have to be Lila first?" Her words echoed in Daniel's mind like a confession. The investigators intensified their work, yet every new clue led to more doubt than certainty. Anonymous calls suggested Grace had argued with a woman matching Lila's description near the bus station the night she disappeared. Some believed this was proof. Others dismissed it as rumor chasing reward money. The community divided sharply. Some insisted Grace was guilty of the darkest betrayal. Others believed she was the real victim, trapped in endless suspicion. Families, too, were torn apart. Daniel lived between walls heavy with silence. Grace never slipped again. After those first careless words, she perfected her mask. When Daniel searched her eyes for truth, she gave him only mirrors, reflecting back his own doubt, his own grief, until he questioned himself more than he questioned her. And so their marriage became a prison of suspicion. They lived together, but apart, bound by history, torn by silence. To outsiders, they looked like a couple who had survived tragedy. Only inside their home did the truth breathe. Every touch, every word, every look was laced with doubt. The investigation eventually went cold again. The reward money sat unclaimed. Lila's body was never found, and so the town moved on, though uneasily. Some believed Grace had gotten away with the perfect crime. Others pitted her, convinced she was innocent but forever marked by suspicion. But Daniel knew the cruelest truth of all. He would never truly know. And in that uncertainty lay the deepest betrayal. Not just of friendship, not just of love, but of trust itself. The story ended not with justice, nor with confession, but with silence. A silence so heavy it drowned them both.